Hey guys, this is Mel, and the day has finally come. It is the annual Arrowverse crossover event. This year is Crisis on Infinite Earths, and this video is talking about part 1, which takes place in Supergirl's episode 509, which premiered Sunday, December 8th, 2019 on the CW. I'm recording on the same night. It is 10:09 p.m. for me, so I just finished watching Kevin Smith's Aftermath show, kind of like after show thing for the crossover event. So I'm just coming off of that. But huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. If you guys are only here to watch my Arrowverse shows and you haven't been seeing any of my other ones, I have cut down on my videos just because I have gone back to school. It's a writing and film and television program for me. It's very intensive work, so I've really had to cut down on a lot of the videos I usually post. Arrowverse definitely took a big hit, but I really wanted to talk about the crossover, so thank you so much for just tuning in for that. I'm going to try to get these videos out quickly, but at least you know my video recordings are directly after the episode airs. So that'll be great for any predictions that may come up along the way. So I will try to do this in 15 minutes. It's going to be definitely a little bit of a different setup than usual, but you'll see as I go. But let's start this 15-minute clock and let's begin with what happened in part 1. So timeline-wise, as we know, the episodes leading into this event for Arrow and The Flash, they pretty much ended their respective episodes with the crisis starting, with the red skies flooding in and pretty much initiating the fact that the crisis has started. It's December 10th for them, and that is that. Legends hasn't aired yet, so we don't know what's been happening in the meantime for them. Supergirl and Batwoman, they don't really get that lead-in. Batwoman definitely doesn't. She's completely caught unaware until Lila goes in to grab her. But Supergirl pretty much starts it off with them feeling this massive earthquake thing. So that's kind of where the episode takes place, rightfully so, as a Supergirl episode. Featured characters include, again, Supergirl episode, so it is going to be the main cast of the show, as well as we getting Allura, aka Kara's mother, which is played by Erica Durance. Yeah. And so we get her for a bit back on Argo. Yeah, Durance back on Argo. For Flash, we get Barry Allen, as well as Pariah, formerly known as Nash Wells, another doppelganger version of Harrison Wells. So there's that. For Arrow, we get Lila, who is now known as the Harbinger. She seems to be more invincible. I mean, she definitely does not react to a simple punch to the face anymore. It's as if like you're punching lead or something. But anyways, you also get Oliver and Mia from the Arrow show. From Legends, we get Sarah and Ray, and they were picked up from Star City during one of their movie trivia nights. So there's that. And then from Batwoman, we only get Kate Kane. So that's a lot of characters, first off. So new characters, though, we do meet Oliver of Earth 16, and he is from the year 2046. And he has a cybernetic arm from the looks of it during one of the fight scenes that Sarah had with him. And I believe, if I understand correctly, it's implied that this was the Oliver that the Legends team visited back in episode 106 when they took a trip to the future, and not it being Earth 1's version of 2046. I think. I have no idea, but that's kind of how I perceived it to be as. So that's a little bit interesting there. Because definitely a lot of things that were visited in that episode of Legends kind of have been contradicted now that we have seen the future storylines in Arrow, specifically in season 7, season 8. So that's probably why. But the first scenes of the episode and of the crossover in itself is that we get this voice-over monologue about the creation of the multiverse. We get to know how it all came to be. We get to see a bunch of other alternate realities along the way as well, which I will touch upon in a moment with tidbits. But let's move on to the episode storylines, or breakdowns, if you will. I picked up on 3 different ones. They all are interrelated or interconnected with each other. The first one being delaying the antimatter wave. Second one being saving Earth 38. And then the third one being finding baby Jonathan. So with the first storyline, it's pretty much protecting the quantum tower that has arose on Earth 38. It's supposed to help kind of put a barrier to protect them against the antimatter wave, and then once that tower is down, the wave is going to wash right over them. So that's part of the mission there. While that's happening, another part of the team is trying to save Earth 388 by trying to get as many people as they can through a massive extrapolator transporter, I believe, to Earth 1. So pretty much 7.3 billion people of Earth 38 have now gone down to 3 billion survivors moved to Earth 1. That is a huge difference. And that's just crazy to even consider. So that is definitely going to shift how Supergirl 5B is going to move forward for sure after the crisis. So there's that. Third storyline, though, is dealing with Baby Jonathan. So Baby Jonathan was originally from Argo, and just before Argo was destroyed, they had sent him on an escape pod on course to Earth. That got sucked into a wormhole, and he somehow ended up on Earth 16 in the future to 2046, and that is how we meet Oliver 16. Oliver verse 16, because he's the one that found the baby. So we get Lois Lane, Brainy, and Sarah Lance going to retrieve the baby. So that's their little side mission there. So that is that. Now the last scene of the episode, and I will talk about again, is the fact that Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow himself, died. And it was not the way the Monitor foretold it to happen. Let's wrap our heads around that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But tidbits, though, it's pretty much going to be the fact that we find out that the Earth 1 is supposed to be the last Earth on the antimatter wave's trajectory. So if all else fails, Earth 1 will be the last one standing, because all the other Earths would have kind of like been in the path of the wave. So there's that. Now, before the episode even truly begins, during that whole voiceover of the creation of the multiverse, we get introduced to a bunch of worlds before they are assumed to be destroyed. So we get Earth 89, which is the world of the Batman movie from 1989. We specifically get to see Alexander Knott in Gotham City before it's assumed that the wave destroys that world. We get Earth 9, which is apparently where a version of the Titans is being set, and they get wiped out by the wave. We get Earth X, if we know from 2 years ago. We see the Ray, aka Ray Terrell, before, again, assume that the wave destroyed that world as well. We get Earth 66, which features Burt Ward's version of Dick Grayson, I believe, and he's the one a holy red sky, holy chrism size of death. His quote will be up on screen, but he says that before it the wave gets him as well. Also, Argo from Earth 30, Argo 38, I'm calling it, as well as Earth 38 are destroyed during the course of the episode. So there's that. So let's move on to the most shocking moment of the episode. It has to be the last scene, and it's the fact that Oliver died. I thought I'd have him to at least part 4 or part 5 of this 5-part crossover. I did not expect to lose Oliver Queen in the first part. That completely threw me off. It's just like, I'm not prepared for that whatsoever. And just the state of him in that moment was just like horrifying and just heartbreaking. It's just like, yes, I mean, I had a year to prepare for Oliver dying. It still hit me hard that he has died in part 1. I mean, it's not like when Stein died in the part 3 of 4 of Crisis on Earth X. That was unexpected, but at least it was still in the more towards the end of the event. Here it's just like, no, right in the middle, right to jump you off. It's just like, wow. Okay, so there is that. Top favorite moments. Let's go right into that. First one would have to be all the crossover interactions between each other. I love seeing how different characters interact with each other. We got to see Kara and Kate reuniting once again. We got to see Oliver interacting with Clark. We got to see Oliver with Barry, Oliver with Sarah. We got to see Ray interacting with Kate in regards to upgrading her suit. We got Brainy interacting with Sarah and Lois. So Lois isn't technically crossover for Barry, but you know what I mean. It was just great to see all these different opportunities. So I can't wait to see more of that as the crossover unfolds. Specific moments I did like were between Oliver and Sarah, and that is both Oliver and Sarah of Earth 1, and then Oliver of Earth 16 and Sarah of Earth 1. Just their Earth 1 counterparts who actually have a history with each other, just having them have that banter between each other about him being a father and she she's saying like, I didn't think I'd see the day that I'd see this side of you type of thing, and having that little moment. And it's sad when you now think about it, like that's the last time they interacted with each other, and it's just, that's so sad. But then like also I'm gonna say also again, wow, to have the moment between Oliver Earth 16 and Sarah, and how she's saying all these things about like trying to give him a speech of forgiveness about, because he felt so guilty that Sarah of his world died because she went on the gambit with him, and she was just telling him, no, if she was anything like me, it was her choice, and that choice has led me down this path that has changed my life forever type of thing. It was just like, it was definitely something I feel like both of them needed to be said. And while I love that Oliver of Earth 16 got to have that moment with Sarah, I kind of feel like I was also robbed at the same time that Oliver of Earth 1 didn't have that moment with his Sarah. So it's just like, it's a mix between the two. I mean, technically, if you manipulate and stuff, you can assume that it's Oliver of Earth 1 having it with Sarah of Earth 1, but like, no. But then like, it is what it is. So there's that. Another favorite I did have was Oliver giving Mia her suit. On screen, don't really, like, I saw the photo shortly after of Kat posting it on Instagram, and it's so much more detailed in the photo of what the suit is than what I was able to see on screen, because on screen it just looks like a black suit. Like, I don't see any of the green, I don't see any of the detailing. So it could just be my coloring on the screen or something, or maybe bad lighting in my room, but it's just like her photo showed a lot more detail, and it made me more impressed by it. But I really like the moment of how he pretty much gave this to her, and how she was like so impressed. It's like thinking that it's your suit, and it's like, it's not gonna fit me, it's meant for you. And her hesitance, because of her hesitance, rightfully so, because if he's giving it to her, then it's like kind of like him subconsciously knowing that the end is near for him, and he wants to have this moment with them. It's just like, in general, Oliver and Mia have had such amazing scenes lately as father-daughter, and also as mentor and mentee in a way. It was just like, it was great that they even had the opportunity to get those scenes together. And I didn't think that they would be able to before they had the whole timeline merger thing. So that was something there. And another favorite, I know I'm saying a lot of praises for Oliver, but how could I not? But it was pretty much the notion that he was willing to stay and fight to the very end. He pretty much went out the same way that he started, and that was alone on this mission. And it was true to Oliver's form. Yes, I hate the fact that he died. I hate the fact that it was not, that he wasn't able to see his core team members in his final moments. I wish he was still able to see William. I wish he was able to see Felicity. I wish he was able to see Diggle. If anything, Thea, Roy, everyone along the way before he got to die. I'm glad he got his little moments, a little speech to Barry and Kara saying that it's up to you now type of thing. But I truly love, in the sense of it all, that when Oliver came down to having no backup, no equipment, no nothing, he truly still stuck around to fight to the very end. And that is just, he is a survivor down to the thick of it, and he did promise that he would fight to his last breath. So it's still heartbreaking how he went out, but again, it's still stuck to his character, so I can believe that. So there's that. Now moving on to top 3 peeve moments. The only peeve I really still have is the fact that Barry waited until the crossover was happening to tell Oliver about his upcoming death. I mean, Barry had 6 weeks to prepare and tell his teammates. You telling me he did not take a moment to pick up the phone and call Oliver to let him know, to call Felicity, to call anyone else he's had a friendship for, and especially in here when they're friends, right? So why wouldn't you tell each other something huge like that? I get if you're like, I can understand with Kara, because like she's on another Earth, it's a little harder to communicate, but like, hello, Barry, Oliver, you're supposed to be, that's what I don't get. If it really sucks sometimes, because like you have great moments like this with the Arrowverse, with the crossover moments, but then like you've established such rapport with these characters that they've been like these good friends, and they hold each other in such high esteem. And you're telling me throughout the rest of their time on their shows, you're not going to put a little tidbit here and there. It's like, oh, I called up this character, I called up, he's doing this, or I've let him know. And it's like, just dropping the ball and letting us be aware. It's like, oh, you're still talking to each other outside of these crossover events. Because I would have expected Barry and Oliver to talk about it with each other. I would have expected Barry to go all over to Oliver and like tell him like, I've shared with you this before. It's competing early. I don't know what I do. And then because I can see Oliver holding out, like not telling him about his deal with the monitor. I can see that, and it still looks like he still withheld that piece of information until his dying breath. But it's like Barry would be the one to kind of tell him, like, I need advice. I need, like, what do I do type of thing. And then Oliver would be like, oh, this is like being known or being aware earlier on that, oh, this needs to be fixed type of thing. So it still pisses me off that wasn't done sooner. And even then, that seemed to be their only scene together alone until the very last death scene that we got to see, which was just not cruel whatsoever. So moving on, though, very quickly, though, I'm going to talk about some hopes I have for the crossover, just because we still have 4 parts to go, and I hope at some point these get addressed, because otherwise I'm just going to be like wondering what the fuck, why didn't they take the opportunity to do so, you know? So the first one is the fact that we have a lot of actors playing multiple different roles, and I really want it to be addressed, either like actually addressed as like them taking a double take of like, well, why do you, like, kind of with how it, okay, kind of like with Barry when he first met Jay Garrick, and then the Barry Allen of Earth 90, and how they all have the same face as his father, Henry Allen. In each of those situations, and there's the timer, they put a throwaway comment on the fact that, like, no, I'm not him, and like saying like, I'm just adopting, I'm a different version, or like they distinguish why there was a difference, why they had the same face but different names. They've done that. So I'm hoping they do the exact same thing with Erica Durance, because she plays both Kara's mom, Allura, from Earth 38, but then she's also coming back to play Lois Lane from Smallville. So I really want them to have a moment where Supergirl characters interact with her version of Lois Lane and be like a double take. It's like, sorry, you really look like someone that we just lost, or something like that. I need that kind of a moment. And then also with Brandon Routh portraying both Ray Palmer and as well as his Clark Kent counterpart in the Kingdom Come version of Superman from his movie. So because they did make a flyaway comment in the Dominator crossover where Ray looked at Kara and said, like, oh, she kind of looks like my cousin. Like, now that I think about it, she kind of looks like my cousin, which was kind of a throwaway comment to the fact that he used to play Superman and Kara is Superman's cousin, right? So now we're having him actually play Superman. So it's like, I really need a comment that explains why Ray Palmer looks like this Clark Kent, and then like have a comment like, maybe have his version of Superman actually looking at Kara as like, oh, and like mistaken as his cousin, or like something to explain why. Because we've seen so many times, we've seen doppelgangers playing the same character but different versions of those characters, like with Harrison Wells, Laura Lance, and Oliver Queen. But then we also seen the same faces but playing different characters with different names. So it's like, I want to see some type of a recognition of the fact that, oh, you're not just seeing double, like, yeah, I'm not connected in some way. Like, I need something like that, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain it. And another crossover hope I have is I really need it to be explained when exactly Elseworlds happened for Batwoman. Because as it's stated in this crossover, Elseworlds happened 1 year ago. Timeline-wise, that makes sense. But the thing is, Batwoman only started 10 weeks ago in October, right? And it's opened up with Kate becoming Batwoman. And yet the fact that Elseworlds happened a year ago suggests that Kate has been Batwoman for a year. So unless there was a massive time jump at some point in season 1 of Batwoman that I'm not aware of, or it just flew by in my mind, I'm still trying to figure out how exactly they have Batwoman from a year ago, and yet she didn't become Batwoman until like 3 months ago. You know what I mean? I need to have, originally I thought maybe it was just the whole changing realities things with Dr. Deegan. And like maybe in his world, Batwoman was a thing. And then when reality was restored, she just wasn't a thing. But then you have that conversation with the real Oliver Queen having with Batwoman. So it's established that she is still there in the real version of Earth 1. And yet with Batwoman series premiere, you have it that that's when Kate becomes Batwoman, or when she comes back to the city, right? Which happened 3 months ago, right? So you can kind of see where my confusion lies. So I'll leave it at that. But that is definitely something I will be looking out for the next 4 parts. Hopefully it's brought up, because I really need that answer. But moving on to random questions very quickly. I definitely went over the time, so we'll have to play it by ear for the next 4 parts. But first question is, how was Oliver supposed to die? Like, how did the Monitor see Oliver dying? That's a question there. Another question, do you think the escape pods just attract wormholes during their travels? Because you can't tell me it's a coincidence that Kara's pod got knocked off course through a wormhole. Can't tell me that Clark's pod got knocked off course. Baby Jonathan's pod just got knocked off course. And also, if you remember, Mon-El's pod got knocked off of course from Daxam, and he ended up in that whole temporal space. I think it was, didn't he go to the Phantom Zone too? I don't know, but that's 4 pods. That's more than a coincidence right there. I believe they're all faulty pods, if you ask me. So there's that. Third question, if there is a crisis, why would you only get a few people from each team? Why would you only recruit the Flash from the Flash team? Why would you only recruit White Canary and the Atom from the Legends team? Why would you only bring the Green Arrow and his daughter from the Arrow team? Why wouldn't you bring the whole team? Like, ignoring casting restrictions and money. On a logical standpoint, in this realm of worlds, why would you only bring a select few to help with this crisis? I mean, if money wasn't an issue, if schedules wasn't a problem, and you could do whatever you want, logically, if you had a crisis, why wouldn't you just bring everybody into the fold from the beginning? Why only bring 1 or 2 people from each team? And it's just like, okay, this is who we have, let's see how we go. Obviously, that's not going to be enough, and you're going to have to bring more people later on, but like, come on. Really? That's a peeve right there, because it's a logical peeve for me. I'm sorry, even if it's illogical world and it's like not something that we're ever going to have to deal with, you've set up this world in a way that I'm supposed to believe it is real. So, if I were in that world, why wouldn't I think of bring everybody into the fold from the beginning, you know? So that's a question there. Last question. And it's more of like having to do with Supergirl, because with the whole alien affairs issues that they have on Earth 38, do you think that is going to continue to be an issue when it comes to Supergirl Season 5B, now that it's going to be set on Earth 1? Or do you think 5B will focus more on everybody, those 3.3 billion people of Earth 38, now trying to figure out how to make a home for themselves on Earth 1? Because that's a huge adjustment on both sides. Because now, instead of having 7 billion people on Earth 1, you now have 10 billion people with a lot less resources now. And that's a lot. That's overwhelming to begin with. So that's a question there. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for Part 2, which is airing tomorrow, that is December 9th at 8 p.m., it is going to be the Batwoman episode 109. And it looks like the superheroes are going to be mourning Oliver. We're going to see the Legends returning. We're going to see an older Bruce Wayne. We're going to see Brandon Routh's version of Superman, so the Kingdom Come version. And then we're also going to see Lex Luthor joining the fold once again. Now, the synopsis for the episode is where you really get hyped up, because it reads, the group uses Ray's invention to track new recruits to help save the universe. The Monitor sends Iris, Clark, and Lois in search of a mysterious Kryptonian, while Kate and Kara head out to find Bruce Wayne. In addition, Mia challenges Sarah, Rory discovers a hidden talent, and Lex Luthor returns. Now, you might not understand my hype, because also in big block letters before all of this, as the header, it reads, can the real Clark Kent please stand up? Part 2 of the Crisis on Infinite Earths continues with special guest stars Tom Welling, Erica Durant, and Kevin Conroy, a.k.a. Clark Kent, Lois Lane of Smallville, and Kevin Conroy as Batman. So you can decide, I'm fully pumped now, because then once they're included, then I just gotta wait for Black Lightning to come in. I gotta wait for Osric Chow's character to come on in as well. And then, who else am I missing that's supposed to be in here? I'm pretty sure that's all. And then there's, I think it was Ashley Scott too. I'm pretty sure she was on Dark Angel as Asha. I really gotta check that out, but her character's supposed to be from Birds of Prey, like the older TV show as well. Plus, also, wasn't Rachel, aka Alice from Batwoman, also from Birds of Prey? I gotta check. It's gonna be up screen, any details like that. So, that is pretty much it, guys. Now, also, there was a little, I keep grabbing the wrong mouse. But if you had watched the Crisis on Infinite Earths Aftermath show hosted by Kevin Smith, they did reveal a spoiler in the fact that in part 4 of the event, which is the Arrow episode, it will open up with an origin story pertaining to the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. So that's going to be interesting there. We do have to wait until the new year before we find out those answers, which just sucks. And it's going to be torture. But there's that. And then we also did get confirmation of the fact that the theme of the crossover is about sacrifice, redemption, and passing the torch along. So that's going to be something there to go. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. What do you guys think of part 1 of the crossover? What do you guys like? What do you think will happen next in tomorrow's episode? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts, theories, opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all from one place. Go check that out. I am behind, mainly because of school and all the homework and stuff. But just keep that in mind. But a lot of stuff is there. I will try to get back to it during the winter break. But otherwise, WordPress account, link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress account. A little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress once as well. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back soon to see my part 2 of the crossover event. Chances are this video is probably posted after the 3rd part would have aired. It really depends on time. I got a final exam this week that I got to study for. So it actually takes place when part 3, shortly after part 3, or shortly before part 3 airs. So anyways, I really got to get to that. But otherwise, guys, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much again. So hope you tune in soon. Talk to you later. Bye.